What's up? Welcome back. Today we are in chapter 2 of 2nd Peter, and the title of that text is Servants of Corruption, starting in verse 1. But there who false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. Verse 1 through 3. False prophets arose among the people in the Old Testament times. Just as false teachers were present among Peter's readers, Peter's warning describes these false teachers as those who spread damnable heresies or teachings destructive to the faith. The effect of their teaching was far-reaching that they even denied the Lord who brought them. Though many followed the heretics shamefully, immorality and the way of truth was blasphemed, little did the false teachers realize that denying the Lord would bring destruction upon themselves. In verse 3. Driven by greed, the false teachers invented deceptive stories, the exact opposite of Peter in chapter 1:16, with which they exploited their listeners. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed, they are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Verse 4 through 10a. To warn his readers and urge them to action, Peter recalled 3 examples of God's judgment and deliverance. 1. God judged the angels that sinned in Genesis chapter 6, 1 through 4. 2. God also judged the ancient world at the time of the flood in Genesis chapter 7, 17 through 23, but protected Noah and 7 others in Genesis chapter 7, 13 through 16. 3. He judged the immoral cities of Sodom and Gomorrah in Genesis chapter 19, 23 through 29. He yet rescued righteous Lot, who was distressed and tormented by the immoral behavior of the ungodly in Genesis 19:29. Peter then pointed out to his readers that God was capable of delivering them, the godly, from the destructive false teaching and heretics in their midst. Peter further assured his readers that the unrighteous would not escape God's punishment. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before the Lord, but these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption, and shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count it pleasure to riot in the daytime, spots they are of blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings, while they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery, and that cannot cease from sin, beguiling unstable souls, and heart they have exercised with covetous practices. Cursed children, which have forsaken the right way and are gone astray, following the way of Balaam the son of Besor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, but was rebuked for his iniquity. The dumb ass speaking with man's voice forbade the madness of the prophet. These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with a tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness. Those that were clean escape from them who live in error. While they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same he is brought in bondage. For if after they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, They are again entangled therein and overcome. The later end is worse with them than the beginning. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than, after they have known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. Verse 10b through 22. Peter further described the false teachers. In contrast to the behavior of the more powerful angels, they were slanderously insolent. They were brutish and irrational, blasphemous, and they ruled by lust and greed. Peter compared the false teachers to Balaam in Numbers 22 through 24, because they had abandoned the straight path, were consumed by greed, and would receive what their sins deserved. Balaam's donkey showed more moral sense than Balaam did. Like dry wells and storm clouds, the false teachers were unsatisfactory and unstable. With their empty, boastful words, and despite their promises of liberty to others, these false teachers led their hearers into the same spiritual slavery and corruption to which they themselves were enslaved. Although these heretics had once claimed to know Christ and even experienced some freedom from sin, they returned to their old practices and become entangled again. They were worse off in the end with their rejection of Christ than they were at the beginning in the state of ignorance. Just as dogs return to its own vomit and pig return to its own wallow in the mud, so also these false teachers reverted to the immoral lifestyle they preferred by nature. Their immoral behavior showed that they had never been genuinely converted.